Thanks for tuning in. The article featured today, as well as others, can be found in this week's issue of Fringe, out now on Amazon and other retailers. Ended up getting laid out and missed last week. That just means you get 2 episodes this week. No harm done. So join me as we take a look at just what happened to Jason. Quick as you can, you get your work pants on and dust off the old pair of non-slip shoes. Your boss has just called and asked you to cover a shift. Since your car is in the shop, any extra hours are great. You agreed for the money, but also because of how hard up things must have been for him to not only call you in, but get you a ride too. You had set up to meet your coworker in the high school parking lot. Not wanting to be late, you open your door and are never seen again. This is the mysterious disappearance of Jason Jolkowski. Jason was from Omaha, Nebraska, and lived in the well-maintained, nice neighborhood of Benson. He was 19, or 6 feet tall, and around 170 pounds. Not a small young man, nor was he out of shape. In fact, before he had gotten the ride from his coworker, Jason had been prepared to make the hour-and-a-half walk it would have taken just to get to Frizzoli's, the Italian restaurant he worked at. Right after the phone call, Jason informed his brother that he had been called in and had a ride he was going to meet at the nearby Benson High School, which was a little more than 10 minutes away. He then brought in the trash cans from the street and faded from reality. Jason was just gone. After waiting for nearly half an hour, his coworker called their boss and then went back to the restaurant. Jason's boss tried to call him back but wasn't able to reach him either. Jason's parents were then informed that he had never made it to work. Here's where a critical mistake is made and what precious evidence that may have been available lost. Jason disappeared on June 13, 2001, but this wasn't reported until the next day on June 14th. Since Jason was 19, legally an adult, his parents waited the 24 hours to report him missing. This wait time was a common myth, one that persists to this day. The police then waited another 9 days to investigate his disappearance. Why did it take such a long time before any official investigation began? No clear answer. Once the search was finally underway, police were unable to find any evidence. There were no eyewitness reports, no physical trace of an altercation, nothing. Omaha police consider this to be the most baffling missing persons case they have ever recorded. They interviewed both the coworker who had come to pick Jason up and his boss at Frizzoli's, but ruled them out as suspects. Jason's goal had been the high school he had graduated from, on a path he had walked hundreds of times before. Cameras from several local businesses that would have been on his route were reviewed, but he was never seen on them. It is suspected that Jason hadn't even made it out of his neighborhood before he was abducted. His parents, along with investigators, didn't believe Jason would have just gotten into a car with someone he didn't know. He also wasn't the kind of person to blow off a commitment, especially not when he had someone waiting on him. He was popular with the people who knew him and had hosted a radio show at Iowa Western Community College, but had a small group of friends, a group that the police interviewed repeatedly and in the end cleared of suspicion. To this day, his last check hasn't been cashed. His car remains at the shop, and not a dime has left his bank account. There has been no contact from anyone to his parents, no ransom, no taunts, no suicide confession. Jason was quickly ruled out as a runaway, but the idea that he could have taken his own life in some elaborate way cannot be dismissed. One can never truly know the heart of another, after all. However, this seems unlikely, as he displayed none of the warning signs commonly seen in the lead up to suicide. So what happened to Jason? It cannot be stressed enough how the 10 days it took before police even looked into the disappearance hurt any chances of finding Jason. While it can be viewed as understandable that his parents waited 24 hours, Hollywood has pushed that urban legend for decades. The other 9 days were very suspicious. Jason went missing in 2001, which is right at the tail end of Omaha's satanic panic, as looked at in The Franklin Scandal, Satanic Murder Conspiracy or Wicked Hoax, found in Fringe, All-American Vampire. During the 1970s to the late 90s, children and young adults in and around Omaha were said to be going missing because of satanic cults and traffickers. Some survivors would report taking part in abduction tactics, such as having a child distract a target on the street long enough for the adults to spring in and overpower the victim. This might be why no one heard anything out of the ordinary the day Jason was taken, even though the neighborhood would have been busy at the time. Jason also lived near Boys Town, which had been said to be a feeding ground for the activities of the cult. Could someone have distracted him with a question or asked him directions, something he was notoriously bad at giving, and then others swooped in and took him by surprise? Once again, Jason was not small, and it would have taken a strong person, or more than one, to force him anywhere. Along that same line, there are others who suspect Jason was the victim of a vehicular homicide. Someone struck him with their car and killed him. Then, in a panic, they moved his body instead of calling the authorities. While possible, this doesn't explain how they were able to do this unnoticed. Many pointed out a high number of registered sex offenders along the route Jason would have taken to the high school. Police did go on to report they interviewed most of these offenders. One was even taken in for extended questioning, and a search was performed on his home, but no evidence connecting him with Jason was found. Another possible answer is that the police didn't interview his friends well enough. Everyone who knew him stated that he wouldn't have gone with a stranger. Statistically, this is supported. What they theorized is that Jason was lured either into a car or into a neighboring home by a friend. This could have been a friend unknown to police, someone outside his normal circle, or on the very edges of it. From there, this person attacked and killed Jason. This belief struggles with motive. Jason was a reserved guy who didn't seem to have any enemies. What could have made someone want him dead? It has been over 20 years since Jason has been seen or heard from. If you think you know anything that could help shed some light on this frustrating case, please don't hesitate to contact the Omaha Police at 402-444-5600. Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed my work and want to show some support, I deeply appreciate it. My books can be found on Amazon. I do have a Patreon as well as a Ko-Fi at R.A. Brewster. You can find me in all the usual places. Links below. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm out.
I'm so broke. Yeah, I'm so broke. This dollar won't last. I'm in dire need of cash 'cause I'm so broke. I'm so broke. Yeah, I'm so broke. No food to eat. I'll sell pictures of my feet 'cause I'm so broke.